Well, hello everyone. So I've been working on my baking skills these few weeks, and would you just look at this donut that I've just baked? I'm going to add some sprinkles to it later and make it more colorful before having it as my breakfast. My camera's been malfunctioning these days. Sorry to tell you that I'm actually bad at baking, not even when I've tried to work on it. I guess having a virtual one is good enough, right? At least I managed to fool some of you at first, I guess. I came across this software as I was at one time desperately looking at baking tutorials, and a recommended video called Donut Course Trailer popped out. So I thought to myself, like, it's just another course teaching me how to make donuts. Why not give it a look then? The donut in the video thumbnail looks decent and I clicked on it. However, what popped up was a time-lapse video with a man using a software called Blender and ending up with a very deceiving product where I first thought it to be a real donut. After seconds of astonishment, where my mind went blank, I thought to myself like, yeah, why bother to bake it when you can fake it? That's when I decided to devote my time into this software. Just as I was wondering how much would the software cost and how long it would take me to have an idea of how to use it, I was quick to realize that it's totally free, and the creator of this software had a YouTube channel posting tutorials of how to use it. A high-end and sophisticated software where the creator can charge it for hundreds and thousands, ending up being free and open for anyone to download on the internet? Is this real? I've been thinking on this as I watched his tutorials. The instructions were clear and I've been able to catch up. I then ended up with my final product, the donut, which is, ta-da! Wait, never mind. It's actually not as easy as I thought after all. I actually had a hard time with the tutorial despite the creator has been elaborative and clear on giving these instructions. One of the major reasons I think has to do with the jargons which appear on the interface of the software. For most of the time, I felt like simply following what he was doing instead of really understanding how the software functions. I always had to pause the video midway and try to function out myself. Each video lasts around 12 minutes, yet I would use usually much more time to absorb the knowledge involved. This explains why I would spend several days on the software with tutorial videos lasting no longer than 4 hours. As a layman who is totally new to the field of 3D objects, it seems better for me to have prior knowledge on certain terms before learning the software. The world of 3D is huge in the sense that its application is ubiquitous. Games, movies, animation clips, images, and more. Here we see that it's a valued skill in a contemporary context. When talking about 3D, there are usually these several aspects of knowledge included: gaming, character animation, architectural visualization, motion graphics, VFX. During the tutorial, the creator introduced the 2080 rule, which means that there are only 20% of the features that you would need to use for 80% of the time. And the tutorial will allow me to learn this 20% of knowledge step by step. So after this learning process, my mind delved into a lot of issues. First, why is it not being taught at schools? In Hong Kong, where the education system is all about competition and rankings, where many of us care about learning subjects like business, law, and education that would land us on job opportunities, software like Blender, with its sophisticated design and the things that it can create, it is definitely something which the curriculum would like to include, yet it isn't. So why? Education nowadays is more about turning it into something quantifiable and measurable. Apart from scores and rankings like I've just mentioned, what is being taught to students should also be uniform so they can be fairly assessed. This, however, allows little room for individuals to explore what they actually want to learn. Blender, while may be a skill valued by society with the knowledge that it embeds, may be something too specific to replace computer lessons at secondary schools. This software was definitely an eye-opener to me as it brought me into a new area of knowledge where I am encountering terminologies and jargons that I do not know at all. It is something that I've been seeing every day through movies, animations, and yet not realizing or acknowledging it as a sort of knowledge. When I was deciding whether to learn this software, I considered the value of learning the skill, which means whether it's going to be useful to me in the future. I didn't decide to learn it for nothing. It seems that under the education system, I've become a person who focuses more on utility than simple interest. I think it's not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes this may cause me to overlook what I am truly interested in. So this actually leads me thinking, while me with a certain proficiency in English and computer knowledge will still find the software complicated and instructions hard to follow, how would those who are less educated, less proficient in English perform? To put the question in another way, are we really on the same starting line even when we are watching the same set of videos? Are we all getting the same out of it? It seems that even when we are learning something new, some of us will be in more advantageous positions where they can better follow instructions and make better donuts. Like these. Are they just smarter or there's something more? I can't tell at this moment. Further speaking, even when this software is free with tutorials provided, does it mean that all of us can access to it? How about those who don't possess computers or tablets? This is another level where one's starting line is different from others. It feels weird when I'm learning something really technical and sophisticated on video platforms like YouTube. Although YouTube doesn't specify itself as a platform purely for entertainment videos, it is an unconventional platform for learning specific knowledge. I acknowledge that I'm learning yet. I still see sitting in classrooms and listening to the teacher as a more formal way to receive knowledge. Moreover, unlike formal education, there's no method of assessment for online learning. There's no one telling you to hand in assignments and giving you feedback. You are your own assessor. Here, I evaluated my performance as satisfactory as I compared my product to others who appeared more creative, which shows that they are more proficient with using it. This is actually commonly done in formal education where one compares his rankings in different subjects with others. So now, even when I'm learning myself without classmates, I'm still struggling to evaluate myself through comparing myself to others. However, simply because there isn't a system where I'm being evaluated and placed on a list of rankings, I seem to be learning more at ease. When I encounter difficulties, I simply replay the video until I understand. There's no one to force me except myself. When learning appears as something less like a competition, it seems that I'm more able to enjoy the process, regardless of the outcome. These 4 days have been rather fun for me where I chose to learn something mostly out of my interest. As our society gets more rational and money-oriented, our true interests don't seem to find their positions. It is therefore up to us to decide what is truly good for us and what isn't. Education should be more than just a mean to ends. The process of learning is also something worth being valued.